Ho, ho, ho.
Cheer,
Merry
cheer.
Christmas. I don't know why I said that. Yo, what you drinking? Talk to me, Macho.
I got some black coffee. You know me. I keep it simple. Kiss. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
You know, I've been a big promoter of this. This is called Mud Water. For those of y'all who don't know,
Here we go with his drinks. Here we go with his drinks, y'all.
I know every day I surprise y'all with something different, but this right here is money. I usually drink it in the morning, but here I am, Mud Water, end of day to match your flow.
Yo, do you want to give us a little bit of a synopsis of what Mud Water is, or?
I'll do that before we get into this intro. Mud Water is what's everything in Mud Water? Help me out here.
He's talking to the executive producer of our show.
And a whole bunch of natural, beautiful fruits. I know it's a bad sell, but man, just Google Mud Water. I literally forgot the ingredients, but it's amazing. Oh, it has cinnamon, right? That's
all right.
Turmeric. Yeah, there we go. We're going to weekend somewhere.
Okay, that's trash. That's trash. Okay,
you know what I'm saying? Anyways, Mud Water is legit. Check it out. Gives you energy. Doesn't give you a crash, but it gives you that energy. But yeah, it's official. Anyways, let's take a sip of this. Jump right in. Cheers.
This is my black coffee. There's nothing else in there but black coffee.
Ladies and gentlemen, on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, welcome to Drinks with a Nobody. That is my man Macho. I'm Savory. Savory always extra with his beverages. Yeah, I'm always extra. I already know. Anyways, welcome. That's Macho. I'm Savory. Today we in for a treat. We're about to give y'all some updates, and y'all already know the title. We're not even gonna say it. I'll pass this on to my man Macho. Let us know what we breaking down today.
All right.
you
That's
ever
right.
wonder what we're doing in these transition screens?
Yo, we're
I
like in
can't
the
hear us, but
background just dancing, having a good
I'm
time.
literally rocking every time. Like, yeah, I'm rocking every time, man. But
Yeah. We're having a good time back here behind the scenes. And we wish we could show the behind the scenes, but we don't have alternate cameras. But we need more subscribers so we can build this channel.
okay,
Share the channel, y'all. Share the channel because we need to
subscribe
build.
and hit
We're
that like.
building
If
a
you're on the
building a
YouTube,
company.
hit that like, subscribe. You're on that YouTube. It helps us with the algorithm. I learned that, so at least hit that like, show some love,
and share.
Yeah.
So we have a special Mind Your Business segment. And that is right. We have a couple of Mind Your Business. And that is the first one here is Ben and Jerry's here put out a tweet, Savory. I don't know if you were aware of it. The Rittenhouse trial displays yet again that our justice system is racist. How would this trial be going if he meaning Kyle Rittenhouse, a black 17-year-old that crossed state lines illegally carrying an AR-15 and shot 3 white protesters? We need real justice in the legal system. This isn't it. What do you think about that, Savory?
When y'all see me take that deep breath, man. The same things you hear all the time, By the way, let me say this, and I'll bring it right back. Ben and Jerry had this interview. I don't know if you have seen this interview where they asked him about, they said something about states that disagree with abortion, right? But they do great sales, and I think it was Texas. They asked him, why don't you just ban from selling in Texas? A big revenue for them. They didn't have an answer to that. Which is my point is they gave all these tweets and virtue signaling and all that really comes down to what they think the people want to hear and virtue signaling to a certain set of people. Because at the end of the day, they're not involved. They don't know the justice system. They don't care about black or white. So it pisses me off when I read something like this because it's like it's a person who doesn't really care, So
yeah, and doesn't even have the understanding or the wherewithal to even know the facts. First off, Kyle Rittenhouse didn't cross state lines with a AR-15.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right.
They gave it to him when he crossed state lines. So
if you're gonna not mind your business, at least know the facts. It was presented in court. Again, the media spins it. The media wants to do this stuff, and then you have big prolific companies such as Ben and Jerry's who want to be woke, but that's gonna get them broke. But like you said, they don't want to ban their sales production in Texas, which is highly conservative.
Exactly.
I don't understand how you get away with making the statements that you make. Again, you want to pander to the minorities in this country.
That's the problem.
Minorities don't need pandering because what you're actually doing is causing people to be angry and cause this divisiveness. And check this out in the media headlines here, Savory. This is how they were covering the case. Stuff like this. Tainting the judge, Kyle Rittenhouse case, Ben and Jerry says trial exemplifies racist justice system. And they put it a little half caption here. I hope the Asian food isn't coming. First of all, there was way more to this. And again, this all plays to the whole pandering. Now we got big news about it. I'm sure everybody out there knows what went down. We'll show that soon. But then you have people out and about, standing in front of the courtrooms. You have the media following jurors. Come on, what in the world is going on here? But these people play into that, and that's why we have to say, mind your business because you're going to cause a riot.
Mind your business too. You know what? Before you make that transition, this is going to be a 20-second clip. We go off the top here. We have fun. You had me pull up this quick clip here that I literally just pulled up right now, but I want people to see how the hypocrisy actually works, right? So let me just show you this quick clip. No transition. Let's get straight into it so people can see. Ben and Jerry's co-founder left speeches literally when their hypocrisy is exposed.
Abortion bans. Why are you still selling there?
Listen, I'm just throwing this cut in there kind of for comic relief to show you.
Hold on.
What you think about him. Regardless of what you think about Dan Bongino, it was just about the clip of the hypocrisy. He's the first one that came up on YouTube. But the point is, you see that? when you're consistent and you have a certain set of values and principles, you would stick to them. And you're not thinking about profit. You see, they couldn't answer that because they know they sell a lot of ice cream there.
Money sells, baby. Money talks, baby. And here's Savory. I want to get welcome. Here's a thought process that I wanted to put out there that I feel is a gross comparison. And I want to hear your thoughts though about it. What do you think about this? This was the response to the Ben and Jerry's tweet. And someone on the Twitter put this out.
So Kyle Rittenhouse shoots 3 criminals in self-defense. Bail sets at $2 million, harassed by state prosecutors and the news media to this day. Timothy Simpkins brings a gun to a school, shoots 4 people, including a teacher, bail at $25,000, released the next day. What do I think in terms of? I have a lot of questions. What kind of correlation are they making? Are they're trying to say like they're treating, you know what I'm saying? Like,
great what correlation are you making here?
Yeah,
One, again, this is in response to Ben and Jerry's, like, I guess this was like, oh, well, hello, look, the disparity here is not in favor of Kyle Rittenhouse, actually. But again, I will now push back on this person. Why are you even comparing? Don't pander back to the panderer.
Yeah,
it's this doesn't solve the problem here. This is, again, Timothy Simpkins had a different case in correlation with Kyle Rittenhouse. They're not the same. The only thing that is the same is, one, they're human beings, and 2, they're 17 years old at the time of their offenses. That's it.
Yeah, so that was my first time. Like, I don't know. Where do I start here? So
we cannot compare the two. Kyle Rittenhouse, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Timothy Simpkins was in Texas. 2 different states, 2 different laws. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, 2 different probably background, the history, saying 2 different laws. It's just a lot.
That is a gross comparison, folks. I do not support these kinds of things because it only plays into what they want us to play into, that division. Yeah. You see black people got this. Look, I see those things all the time, and I make statements to make these broad statements all the time. Why? Because I want to trigger the conversation, but I'm not going to see something and then respond to it with the same rhetoric. No, I'm going to see what it is, ask questions. Why do you think our judicial system is really racist? That doesn't answer the question. That's what I'm getting at, and that's how we cannot play into these characters in society, because that just doesn't help anything.
Yeah, that's well said right there. Yeah. There's really no comparison. They both sides try to stretch it to try to make these. This is where the political games are played. It's like, what does this have to do with anything? Yeah, good point.
Thanks. So there's something I want to share here really quickly, and then we'll move on to the next set. Well, first off, we got the big news that everybody knows, but we're going to play it here. But first, I also want to talk about another case that's not on the mainstream headlines, and that is, they think Kyle is guilty. Okay. Julius Jones case. I'm sure everybody is aware of that. We have a mind your business for that. I specifically have a mind your business. I want to get Savory's vote. I may be stretching it, but let's see. Let's just familiarize ourselves with this case. I have a screen here to play for it really quickly.
Jones yesterday on death row in McAlester before coming here to Oklahoma at Tabernacle Baptist Church to meet with his family.
She was like, you could tell the way that Julius truly loves me.
Antoinette Jones says she's still processing the fact she met Kim Kardashian West, and she's humbled by how passionate she was about her brother's case.
She was.
All right, that's the clip I wanted to play right there, Savory, and this is the reason why. Julius Jones, I was talking to you off air. I was talking about it the other day. I never heard of the name. Have you?
Not until you told me. Now I know a lot more than I did just a week ago.
Yeah, exactly. So the that clip I just played for the audience there, that was 11 months ago. And why is that important? Because 11 months ago, Kim Kardashian West took this case on as a social justice experiment to order the stay or the mercy or clemency for Julius Jones, who's on death row. We're not going to get into the specifics of the case, but when you have someone like that get into this case other things start to come around, and there's a window here I want to share, and here's that window I'm going to share here for us, Savory, and I want to get your take on that. Mass protests are being staged across Oklahoma while the European Union's ambassador to the U.S. requests he stop the execution. A petition to revoke his death sentence has gained over 6 million signatures. Again, that's very significant because this is a 20-year-old case. Not a single blip. I looked on the internet. Not a single blip in 2002 that anyone made a mention of this case. No one cared about Julius Jones 20 years ago. No one cared about him 2 years ago. No one cared about him 3 years ago. There was no movement. There was not a blip. And you're able to get 6 million signatures within a 6-month time frame. I mean, that's crazy. Jones filed for clemency in October. I think that's miswritten there. In October 2019, after exhausting all of his options to fight the death penalty. On October 27, 2021, Jones was granted a stay of execution as the debate loomed closer. However, the state attorney general's office released a statement saying that it plans to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court. And here's what they said. We are hopeful that the Supreme Court will vacate the stay so that the justice can finally be served for the people of Oklahoma, including the families of the victims of these horrific crimes. What are your initial thoughts so far as we're getting through this, Savory?
All right. My initial thoughts is, oddly enough, I'm not going to vote mind your business. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
I believe what she's doing is misguided because of the agenda. But ideally speaking, this is a good thing when people can gather people together, get signatures, and fight against the government. Theoretically, right? But what's happening is there's a clear bias here. You're bringing this up because of the power behind BLM, because of the narrative that they've sold us. So now it leans one direction, right? And you have one goal here, which is the social justice narrative, right? So now you move forward with that, and it gets a little tricky now because at the end of the day, you're really just painting the picture that you want to be painted, and you haven't really gone deeper. You're doing the black innocent man, not really guilty without going deep into it. But in theory, I would like people to be able to do this and get signatures. But it's Kim Kardashian. She is very biased. I won't even say her, but the agenda she's pushing for is controlled by a lot of people who are incredibly biased. So I would say you don't have to mind your business, but in this case, I just think she's wrong.
So you're just saying based off the premise of her just being misguided does not qualify her to just mind her business, because in the grand scheme of things, they are people who are questionably on death row, and there needs to be a lane for this, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you got
great
me.
argument. Great
exactly.
argument.
That's
check this out. Yeah, great argument. Check this out right here. I actually vote mind your business. I don't think we can see this. Anyways, I'll read it just so that. Yeah.
Really quick, Macho. Hold that thought. I see Chef's Body and Felicia interacting. Felicia, appreciate the love. Chef's Body, thank you for joining us. Yeah, you might find our thought process a bit different than the norm, especially where we come from and all that. So it depends, but you might find our thought process in certain issues. You might agree or disagree with some things, but definitely just want to give you that personal welcome again. I know I saw you there a little earlier. So
all right. So here's why I vote mind your business to that
to
this, because again, I don't agree personally. My personal stance, I don't agree with the death penalty. I don't think killing for a killing is the appropriate form of action, but that's just personal.
Yeah.
But in Oklahoma, everybody in the state agrees to have the death penalty. Okay, cool. I got it. Understood. My whole thing is are we really thinking about this family? 2 young kids were present during the crime where said people were convicted of killing this person right in front of their family. Kids were right there, saw their father get gunned down in front of them, and not a single person in this trial admitted in killing this person. Not a single person. But we can admit that there's people there. They were there. So the 2 other characters that were in this case were there, or now the alleged person who is now getting awarded clemency, Julius Jones, was perhaps possibly there, or he wasn't there. His his affidavits or sworn testimonies couldn't corroborate his alibi in court, in transcript. They could not corroborate his alibi, but they do know that he was with the person that was allegedly at the scene of the crime. So again, this is why I vote mind your business.
Roger.
Because now you have a family that is pissed off, angry, and rightfully so. I mean, I have other personal opinions that, killing another person won't absolve you of your grief, but now no one's even admitting to this murder. No one's even saying, yeah, you know what, I made a mistake, but I shouldn't get killed for it. You know what I'm saying? And now you're not giving any peace or any closure to this family, to these kids who are not grown now, or sitting in court, have to hear it and relive this again. And again, they get to walk free. And this is why I vote mind your business, because this didn't matter to anybody 20 years ago. The Kim Kardashians, the Joy Reids, they all existed. They were all here. They were all in the public sector. And not a single person cared about Julius Jones' case until just recently during the BLM stuff. And then, of course, you have Benjamin Crump, which is a slide I pull up there. And the reason why I pulled it up there is because Benjamin Crump is the prolific person that's pushing and supporting legally these BLM protesters. And that's what's dangerous to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so now I want to get onto the big news here, Savory.
Big news, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all read that title.
Everybody knows this news, but I think it's just for the sake of the show, let's play this emotional response here.
State of Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. As to the first count of the information, Joseph Rosenbaum. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the second count of the information, Richard McGinnis. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the third count of the information, unknown male. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fourth count of the information, Anthony Huber. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty. As to the fifth count of the information, Gage Grosskreutz. We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
Just before we show, we have to clip this for copyright reasons. But just before we show his response, Savory, not guilty on all charges, right? Clearly,
correct. 5 counts, not guilty. Yeah.
And look at his response here.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read?
Damn.
You wish the jury pulled?
That's wild.
Okay.
And there we are.
I was telling my wife, like, I really looked at this and I was like, I was kind of heartbroken for him because it hit me toward. I was like, wow. I guess because the way I was keeping up with the case this time and kind of I was like, yo, yeah, the kid was going through a lot. It's a 17-year-old kid.
18 now.
18 now. And it sucks that people, one, he was smeared before the case even started, even by the president, which we'll get into that, right? Which then president-elect. But then you fast forward and, I'm sure they didn't have him watch the news or anything, which was a good choice. But
hold on, Savory. Julius Jones was not released, but he will be released because the alternative to his mercy or clemency is life with the possibility of parole. And he already served a life sentence, technically. So he will be released on parole, especially now that his case and the 6 million people believe of his innocence. I mean, that is huge for a parole hearing, by the way. So he's going to get released. You heard it here first. All right. So yeah, I'm sorry to cut it off. I was just answering to that message.
Go ahead.
I mean, it's a breath of fresh air when you hear that you're innocent by your peers. It's a breath. This is not something only privy to a white male or a white female. Black males, black females have been exonerated or acquitted of certain cases in history, prolific cases, and they have had the same breath of fresh air that I don't know if it's just about going to jail for the rest of their life, or more importantly, that everyone sees them as that word innocent. And whether you can go and sit down and say, well, he's not innocent. We all know what we saw, whatever the case may be, that breath of fresh air is there. Now, I've said this in previous broadcasts, Savory, I wouldn't even have been there because I was raised differently.
Yeah.
Again, this
trial, right?
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. That point is not what the lawyers are arguing. We all know he shouldn't be there, but again, no lawyer would tell a judge, He wasn't supposed to be there, judge. He should be in jail. Like, that's not an argument. So I tell people, I understand he made maybe an unwise decision, but now let's deal with the case on how it unfolded. That's all that matters right now. It's too late to turn back. So, yeah. And man, now that we saw that, right, I kind of want to run people through a timeline, right? And of the actual snippets of events before, during, and after the trial, right? So it's almost like playing it backwards, right? And this is our nobody versus the expert segment. So here we're doing a little bit different. We usually have the experts, we put someone on screen, we challenge them, we're the nobodies, and we kind of let people. But here, you ask yourself, who's the experts? Imagine if the people, all right, who wanted him to be guilty before he even had a trial were the actual experts in this case. Imagine we lived in a country where it wasn't innocent to proven guilty, but you can be, to use the analogy, lynched by public opinion. Right? It's like we need to realize, again, YouTube, that was an analogy. All right. But again, we need to realize the system has been working. Let me take people back, right? Let me take people back how this started, right? Protesters for the second consecutive night wreaked havoc in Kenosha, Wisconsin. This was before Kyle Rittenhouse. Setting fires to buildings, facing off with authorities. There's footage of this. Over the police shooting of Jacob Blake. If y'all remember, this all Kenosha was Jacob Blake. He got shot 7 times. In defiance of the 8 p.m. curfew, the crowd set ablaze furniture store. This is on footage. Building that the House of Wisconsin Department of Correction, cars at the local dealership, and all the footage is posted on social media. So on the heels of this...
Wait, did you just say casually that a correctional building was burned too as well?
Correct. Wisconsin Department of Corrections.
Wow.
That's a building that houses the Wisconsin Department of Corrections. This all happened in the span of 3 consecutive days where it was chaos, which is why people actually went there to defend, right? Early in the night, squared off with police for riots. It was clear riots going on, right? I won't get into the conversation. There was, like again, people mention the peaceful protests. Most of them are peaceful. Great, but we're not dealing with the peaceful ones when we're talking about this case right now. So why are you mentioning that most of them are peaceful? 3 days before they were causing havoc, right? So I wanted to take people through that. I'm gonna show a quick clip here. Let's play this clip. All right. So check this out. This is unrest in Kenosha, Wisconsin after Jacob Blake shooting. That looks like fire to me, but I digress. Let's go. Those people with bats. That's the police there. Not messing with nobody. Don't mess with them. People being pepper sprayed. What is that lady doing there? Actually, what? No, is that glass being broken? I'm going to be annoying today because y'all want to pretend like stuff like this didn't happen. I'm going to be annoying today. What's that? This is the exact place that he was. Again, I'm not justifying that he should kill people. We'll get to that. We'll get to the case. I'm only showing you the reality of what happened before the case. All right, let's go to it. Yeah, I hear that. That's not sound effects from us. Look at the peaceful march, guys.
What the hell is that?
You'll see what's that. They'll show you what's that in a second.
What's happening here?
Burning cars. All right.
That's called art. That's called art.
What's that? Ladies and gentlemen, that's what happened before. Again, this doesn't
That's peaceful. That's peaceful.
That you can go. But again, this is what they call peaceful at times. Or they totally dismisses and show you a clip from New York City where there was a peaceful protest. That in Kenosha, Wisconsin was the reality of what was happening on why people came out to defend Kenosha. Point blank, period. Did they do it the right way? Because could Kyle had done something differently? Of course. Did he handle some things wrong? Of course. But the point is, this is the unrest that the city was going through, which had him go there. And by the way, he was called by somebody. I digress. I do want to continue. So as we continue here, right, I'm not going to show another footage of the protest, but check this out, right? And I'll leave this up for us as we're speaking right here. This is the president-elect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is. Do you think this is okay? No trial has started. No trial has started. No one knows if he's innocent unless you have a magic wand and you looked into the future, or you were there and looked at every single thing that the victim and the perpetrator and everybody did. You weren't. You weren't. Nobody should have a conclusion on who he is and what he's done. President Joe Biden, then president-elect, said there's no other way to put it. The president of the United States refused to disavow white supremacists on the debate stage. And then he showed Kyle Rittenhouse in a tweet as white supremacists as well. Right? So if they show the videos there.
Are you willing to turn to specifically? Right. So what are you going to call him?
So I think he tweeted after that. But the point is, he tweeted on white supremacists, right? Called Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist, unacceptable. But what are you talking about, bro? You're pandering to the people who you think want to hear that. Who voted?
Not even Barack Obama did this, bro.
Like what are we really talking about here? Like, you see, you set yourself up in a very crazy way where it's like, where are you even going with this conversation, man? Like,
this is where I start to look at wokers and freaking progressives. Like, really, though? That's your president? Really? Yeah. I mean, he's my president. I'm not gonna be one of those guys like, not my president. Listen, I don't care. I'm gonna be like, that's your candidate. That's what you got.
Yeah, this is like, come on, man. My screen looks laggy. Apologize for that. We gotta definitely work on that.
I had to hit you with the Obama right there.
Come on, man.
That's right.
Yeah, those were some footage here. Let me catch on some of this. That day one, the trailer. That was.
What do you mean? Why not point out a real WS white supremacist? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, why not point out real white supremacists? Yeah,
who is that? Who is that? Who is the real white supremacist? Me? Look at me.
No, he's talking about, I think, the Biden tweet.
What Biden
tweet? When talking about Biden, I'm guessing he's pointing out real white supremacists. Why doesn't he point out real white supremacists?
Oh, Joe Biden? Jojo Bean?
The trailer Rosenbaum got his chain from. JB just fed his base with white supremacist remark. Exactly. I agree with that 100%. And that's the problem there. You're playing politics. Yeah. Again, I tell people, both sides play politics. The left just has more power to play politics at a more manipulative level.
In our earlier broadcast this week, we talked about, we left you guys with some facts about the idea of mudslinging and what that's really about. That's what these politicians do. They mudsling. They'll throw the white supremacy name because they know it's a buzzword. And they're just going to play hot potato with it. Hot potato, hot potato. Like, no, you're the white supremacist. No, you're the white supremacist. No, you're the white supremacist. It's like, you get white supremacy. You get white supremacy.
They keep playing that game. They keep playing that game.
They calling you a white supremacist too, right, Savory?
So, man, I get all types of names. But let's take a look at this clip. This is just flashbacks to remind people of some of this thing that happened since we got the verdict today. Why not go through some of the details of this trial?
Why not? This is the war room. You know, why not?
That was their motion for reconsideration.
So, one of the craziest things here was the prosecution mentioned the right to remain silent, which is the Fifth Amendment right. Your right to remain silent. They're questioning why Kyle did that, which is crazy to do. Crazy to do. What do you mean? That's called the Constitution, brother. That's like asking somebody, how dare you walk around with a gun in Texas? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, this is how we roll here, and this is the Constitution. Anyways, check this out. This is very interesting. I think I'm playing this because I think it played a pivotal role and exposed a lot of the prosecution and how they were cross-examining and approaching this case that backfired on them.
Happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an experienced attorney, and he knows better.
Mr. Finger?
First of all, Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. and the court left the door open.
For me, not for you.
My understanding is
You should have come and asked for reconsideration. You did on the one motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not my motion.
Excuse me. I did. I granted.
We did not move
That
for
was their
reconsideration.
motion.
We have not filed any motions to reconsider in this case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But I said I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial is what I did. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that that made it okay for you without any advance notice to bring this matter before the jury? I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law. It's been basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it gives...
So again, the video seems to be lagging a lot, but nonetheless, right there, they're mentioning the Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. The whole premise of this case, of any criminal case, you have that right. That's why you have lawyers. That's why you have your day in court. And that's how you get to defend yourself. But the simple fact, this took a big turn because it wasn't only this case, but the way they were approaching this case, they were continuously trying to paint a certain picture that really wasn't there. What's up, Julie? Thank you for joining us.
What's going on, Julie?
On guilt, the judge stood up for every man right there. Yeah, it's like the judge, by the way, the judge is a Democrat. I don't know if you knew that, Macho.
I had no idea.
Yeah, he's a registered Democrat since, I think, the 90s.
Does that matter?
It doesn't, but this is just, if people want to insert politics, I just feel like throwing this in here because it's like, guys, do you know this guy's history? Anyways,
why is Rittenhouse a hero? Is that the right perspective we should have as well, Savory?
I don't consider Rittenhouse a hero, but I heard that on my TikTok live today, which I personally said, I don't really look at him as a hero, but I look at him like it's an example of the American justice system and our Constitution still being alive.
I agree with the second comment. Antifa is a terrorist organization. Absolutely. They've been labeled as such too. But yeah, I don't think Rittenhouse is a hero because again, he was defending himself. What did he do that was heroic? He's defending himself.
Yeah,
and I'm not gonna be,
I think he just upheld the American standard to where it's supposed to be. Right? You have a fair justice, fair court trial. I mean, justice, I believe, was served because again, you're innocent until proven guilty. I was talking about this in my live. Right? The beautiful thing about this country, to be found guilty, needs to be guilty beyond reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's not just, hey, yeah, I think he should be. I don't know. No. It has to be beyond reasonable doubt, which gives a lot of burden to the person who is accusing. The accuser is the one that has the burden of proof.
Yeah.
Not the one being accused, right? So it's like that. And you wouldn't want it any other way. You know, I see the commenting on YouTube. So, I would love to engage with some of y'all. So I don't mind doing that as we continue talking about this. But the 5, I want to break some of this down here, right? And we'll just have a conversation from here, Macho, right? And to get your thoughts on some of this. These are the 5 counts, right? First degree, reckless homicide of a dangerous weapon. First degree, reckless endangerment of safety using a dangerous weapon. First degree, intentional homicide, which is the one, it's like, why even, that one was out the window since the beginning. Attempt first degree, intentional homicide. First degree, reckless endangerment safety, right? So, these are the Wisconsin broad self-defense laws. Citizens have no duty to flee. Check this out. Hear me out here, guys. This is important. Citizens have no duty to flee when in danger, although Kyle did, and maintain self-defense privileges even if attacked by those one provokes. There is no duty to use the least possible force when threatened. That's not in the law. There's no duty, right? So this is a good breakdown because I learned a lot from here. Only reasonable force, a standard judged by the person in question. In other words, prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt, like I said, right, that Kyle Rittenhouse did not believe he had risk of great bodily harm and that the force he used was unreasonable according to Kyle's own standard. Unlikely given the facts of the case. Unlikely given the facts of the case. When you're being chased down, when you're hit by a kid, when somebody grabs your gun. He was on the stand and he said, I pointed my gun. That's when Kyle fired. How do you expect to win a case when your star witness just said that he pointed the gun first?
Right.
Come on, man. Come on. Like you got to think about these details. Look, what you see this breakdown after me reading that, Macho. Tell me what you think, right? So again, look, I'm gonna read this part again. This is very important. Self-defense laws. This is in Wisconsin, right? Citizens has no duty to flee, right? When endangered. Self-defense privileges if attacked by the one provokes. So as long as the provocation did not include criminal entrapment, there is no duty to use least possible force. So the gun is even out the picture. He could have used a bazooka under the law.
That's facts. Yeah.
Like I know that's crazy. He could have used a bazooka under the law. This is the law, guy. If you have a problem with it, fight to change the law. Don't fight and scream, this is unjust without you really knowing the facts. In other words, prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kyle did not believe he had a risk of great bodily harm. Of course he did believe that. He was being chased in the middle of thousands of people he didn't know. Or let's say
he didn't. So according to this law, he didn't also have to run. He didn't have to retreat.
He didn't have. That's why that was in his part. He ran for 2.5 blocks, people.
This is called stand your ground laws. Yeah.
He didn't have to run at all. So, you know, that's important to note because why is this a breakdown of the law? This is just a breakdown of the law. And then let me read this right here, right? This is fun to give some details of the case here, right? Additionally, both men killed by Rittenhouse had their hands on Kyle's gun at the time of being shot. A detail confirmed by eyewitnesses, Richard McGinnis, and videos of the incident making the man in possession of a gun. Again, if I walk you through this case, forget about race, forget about party, forget about how he looks. If I'm just imagine I'm a great storyteller. Right? And I'm walking you through the details of the case. Would any person in their right mind say, oh no, Kyle was out to kill? How to come to that conclusion is just mental gymnastics for people. Like, what are you? You can't not come to that conclusion. It's almost impossible. Forget about you didn't know his skin color. You didn't know who he was from. You didn't know what happened before. All I'm describing is a situation according to all the evidence and the footage we got. You see my argument there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's something. You know? I see some comments here. He is a sociopath. Who do you think was a sociopath?
She's talking about Kyle Rittenhouse. But Julie left though. She says she'll see us. She'll check us back in on Monday.
Oh, I wanted to hear her thought on that, on why. That's interesting if you think, you know.
I mean, again, this case was politicized from the very beginning, not because of who Kyle is or who he shot. It was where he did it. And in light of a white police officer shooting a black male 7 times in the back. It was in light of this, there was rioting. It was in light of the rioting why Kyle got there. It was in light of him being there why people chased him, and you know, he separated from a group of people, and they thought he was vulnerable, and they figured, let's hurt this person. Let's take our anger out on this person. And it wasn't even black people who were doing this. This was white people. Again, we cannot allow white saviors, progressives to pander to us, because that's not what motivates us. That's not what triggers us emotionally. Again, we have to start not being led. We have to resist against the temptation to be led by the narrative of our emotions, because it's deceptive. Savory, I don't know what you think.
No, for sure,
extremely deceptive, because again, what I feel may not be the actual reality. There are many layers. If you follow our content, if you look at Savory on his TikTok, you look at my TikTok, you follow our content on our YouTube channel, you will see we have made claims after claims after claims with correlations that there are many layers to our society. There are many layers as to why people are unsuccessful or successful. It maybe race is a fraction of a huge story, but don't exclude the rest of the story. So we cannot be led by the narratives of our emotions. We have to be led by the narrative of what we have witnessed, what is actually going on, the whole entire story. Let's look at everything. Let's examine. And as somebody I follow on TikTok, Savory, his name is Millennial Spike Lee. He says you have to remove yourself of the oppression of the mind, and it will start to break free. And I would even say not only of the mind, but also of the heart. If you're oppressed in your mind, you're definitely oppressed in your heart, and you are looking at history. You're looking at your current events in a very slim, dim-sighted way, and that way is causing this hatred, this bigotry, this anger. I mean, this is ridiculous. And we have organizations, as previously mentioned, like Antifa, BLM. Movements don't help, folks. I'm all about freedom of speech and protesting, but they don't help in the grand scheme of things. You know what helps? Savory's mentioned it multiple times. Go to your local politician, write emails, start a petition, speak peacefully, stand in solidarity.
Lead to. You see the problem? A movement should lead to those actions where people are getting together. Like for example, why do you think people showing up to schools in Virginia, parents by the loads worked, right? Because they're petitioning their local government. Part of our rights in our founding documents is the right to petition our government. What does that mean? That means we have a right to voice our opinion even after someone is elected if we don't like what they're doing, right? So petitioning your local government is very effective. But these movements don't get there.
Great point.
Don't get there, man.
I'll give an example really quickly. Obama was what ran on the idea also not only of Medicare but also same-sex marriage. But no one knew where he really stood, right? He got elected on that, almost didn't get reelected because why? He didn't do anything for the same-sex community. And they protested in front of the White House. They say you need to do more for this this case in Ohio. You need to look out for us more. We are human. We need our rights, our basic rights for same-sex marriage. And they didn't agree with his politics at that point. And you know what? He changed his tune. And when he changed his tune, the people won. We need to voice that way. Stand in solidarity with each other. Don't look for divisiveness. Don't be angry. Just allow people to have their freedom of speech, their freedom to protest. And the other thing about that point is you'll have people with contraring opinion. Yeah, there are religious people that don't believe in that. But hey, religious people, you have the freedom to exercise your religiosity. Let same-sex people have their freedom to marry their same sex. Hello. It's very simple. It's not very hard. And we're conservatives. I again, get out of the way and let people exercise their freedom.
Yeah. And that's really what it comes down to, man. You know, when you realize that the system is working as intended, what you do now is you challenge the system specifically, right? Like Chef's Body Shop mentioned right here, know your immediate representative. How many of us get so excited to vote on a presidential election, but you have no idea who sits on the board in your community, who's passing these laws? You know what I'm saying? So it's like
not even our pastors know in our community.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy because we only get mobilized. But this is why movements get often hijacked by political parties, and the Democrats are winning that race. So BLM is going to come out in midterm elections, LGBT marches, all that is too well orchestrated for me to think is grassroots. It just happens when it needs to happen.
Check this out. We have to verify this, but this is an interesting claim here. Hillary did the same about LGBTQ, ignored them. Trump was the first GOP to celebrate gay rights at the White House, and that was ignored by the media. Wow, we have to look into that, Savory. And also, does anyone know that one of the justices who ruled in favor, I think it was Orgerby and Hartful? I forgot the case. My fiance knows this case, but this is the case in Ohio. One of the justices, Anthony Kennedy, whom is a known Republican, registered Republican, voted in favor for same-sex marriage. That's why we're trying to tell you guys, folks, the Democrats are not your friends. They're not necessarily your friends. And this wokeness, progressives, this identity politics is not helping America. It's actually not. It's limiting our freedom. It's compartmentalizing our freedom. Conservatives want government to get out of the way so we can have all of our freedoms.
And the crazy thing about these ideologies is not only are they not helping America, but they're actually hurting us more than they hurt other people. So you see where it gets tricky? So
Preach.
If it was a way that it was hurting other people, you can justify like, all right, we just don't care about other people. But no, you're actually hurting ourselves. So it kills me, which is why so many people are speaking up on it. So, and again, let me remind people, since we're talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse case, take a look at the system we live in. All right. The system we live in, man, it's a rare thing, man. Trust me. Look at people from other countries who don't ever have a fair day in court. All right? Because the system doesn't work to their favor. Because it's more not only politicized, but when power is centralized, you can be convicted on a crime you didn't even know you committed in those countries.
On suspicion.
The only reason we have innocent to proven guilty is because the people have more power than the government in this country. Point blank, period. If not, you wouldn't even be able to protest. You wouldn't even be able, like the simple fact that the BLM leader in New York is able to threaten and nothing happens to you. If he does that in another country, my man would disappear.
Do that to Fidel, baby.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. You're like, oh yeah, think about all these Middle East stuff. It's not the, and again, I'm not saying every country. There's other developed countries that's like America. I would argue America's better, but I digress. But there's other great countries where you still have a base. But
look
again,
at the guy that was protesting against the Kremlin and Putin. They almost killed him.
Yeah,
the Russian government almost killed the guy who was protesting against Vladimir Putin. He had to flee the country and is hiding currently in Germany. Folks, you don't have the same liberties in other countries that you do here. So don't allow woke politics to break our system. Don't go woke to broke, guys. Come on now.
All right, I have to address this comment. He should have got the death penalty. Now other white people will now go to protest rallies with a gun feeling comfortable. All right.
Me too. I'm gonna go to a gun rally feeling comfortable too, and I'm a liberty-loving Latino también, so I don't care.
Listen, if you think this is gonna embolden people, like, did you watch the case? Did you watch the trial? Did you watch this trial? Like, I understand if he was an active shooter who was just crazy and he left a memo inspiring other people to do the same. Like, that's not the case. If you watch,
I have a dramatic point here, Savory.
Guys.
I have a dramatic point. If Kyle Rittenhouse was sitting there with a KKK uniform on with the whole thing, should he not have a trial? Should he not have legal representation? Should he not be even represented against?
If he has the KKK cloak, you're saying?
Yeah, if he's wearing the whole getup, if he's there and trial, I'm part of the KKK. I'm a white supremacist. Should he not have the access to a fair trial? Should he not have legal representation?
I believe he should still have a fair trial. Yeah, he could have. Because it's easy to prove. You're coming in there with that arrogance and you really like just showing that off. One, that's dumb. But at the end of the day, you're still innocent to proven guilty. And you're leaving that message to the world that you're letting them know who you are. What they claim that Kyle is. It's such a stretch, man, when it comes to
what I'm saying, why I bring that example, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
who you're affiliated with. It doesn't matter. There has been gangsters been tried. I'm talking about mobsters been tried in court. We've had gang members, gang leaders tried in court, and known gang leaders. I mean, prolific gang leaders. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. They have the right to legal representation. They have the right to the free rights. Hate speech is free speech. It's protected, folks. Come on. As long as you don't use that and to validate your feelings. If you feel like you're a white supremacist and then you're going to use your supremacy to kill someone, that's different. That's called, what is it called, Savory? A hate crime or anything of that nature. You'd have to prove that in court, by the way, that it's a viable hate crime. Again, folks, stop it with the identity stuff. Don't look at it and triumph from that. Look at it from the actual raw facts that were argued in court.
Like,
that's
who
it. Very simple.
Going on Macho's example, who actually thinks that regardless of how you represent yourself, that any government power has the power to be like, throw him in jail, execute.
Off with his head. off with his head.
Yeah, like this is the medieval times. Like who, like, if you go there, remember, it's a dangerous precedent to set, because you can be that person being defamed when it's convenient for the people in power. You see a difference? You can be that person being defamed when is your turn. Why? Because we live in a crazy world. You might catch yourself on the other side of the coin where you're in the middle of a crime. And again, everybody should have their fair day in court, a fair trial.
It's not a perfect system.
It's not at all.
We're fallible human beings, and it's okay. The American government and the judicial system has been had to apologize, had to pay civil differences because of their mistakes or negligence in court. It's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
But nowhere else you will find this kind of mercy. Nowhere else you will find this kind of freedom, right? If you've been convicted in China of a crime, you think you're going to get mercy? If you've been convicted of a crime in Russia, you think you're going to get mercy? You don't get mercy in these countries, folks.
Not at all.
You don't get mercy in the Middle East. You don't get mercy in Cuba. Why are we expecting, and why are we subjecting America to this standard in which we are the ones that are providing that kind of mercy? We're giving people like Julius Jones clemency, right? And again, this is why this all ties together. Again, Kyle Rittenhouse has been proven innocent, guilty by the media, but innocent by his peers in court, because they're not looking at who Kyle is. They're looking at the facts that is argued in court. And if we're not looking at this properly, folks, our judicial system that you guys think is racist, that you want to tear down, is gone. Might as well just get away with it and ruin our freedom rights and stuff like that. So looks like we got our chat lively here, Savory. What's going on here? You got two liberty-loving Latinos discussing the Kyle Rittenhouse.
I say that though. Liberty-loving Latinos. We might have to coin that to just put that joint in one of our intros.
It's already coined. I'm taking it from a news anchor called Salcedo, Chris Salcedo of the Salcedo show. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, but what's going on here? We're talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse. We're calling this the war room. We just giving our thoughts. Now we're going off the top, entertaining people, having some fun with this case.
Felicia says, merch.
That's something interesting. Saudi Arabia is the same. They still stone people.
We'll create merch if we get bigger. If we get bigger, that's why we want y'all to share this. We get bigger, we'll create merch. Drinks with the Nobody tees, hats, cups, everything. Like I
was just talking about today. But again, right now, we're not even thinking about that, because we want to build a community with you guys, have you guys join us weekly to, get feedback from everybody and really enjoy our content, right? Again, follow us on TikTok as well.
Kyle is a symbol. Kyle is a symbol, which is fucked up.
So hold up. Felicia made a comment. Saudi Arabia is the same. They still stone people. We'll keep going to the comments here.
They still stone people.
So this, which is crazy. Check this. I want to read this, and I want to get people's thoughts and your thoughts on this.
He a woman beater. Yo, they says Kyle is a woman beater.
Yeah. Hold on. We'll get to that. Let's stay focused here. All right. So check this out. America's founders foresaw the need for armed young men to rise to the defense of their communities against rioters, looters, and foreign invaders. Many younger than Cal fought in the American Revolution, put down insurrections under George Washington, and trained in militia groups in anticipation of threats. It was for those men that the Second Amendment was written. It was men like Cal whom the amendment must continue to protect. Do you think that's an overreach from the right? Do you think they're saying too much there? Or talk to me. What's your thoughts on what I just read? Is there any truth in that?
I'm absolutely sorry. I was reading the comment section. Can you
focus? Because
I'm so sorry.
We'll get to that. But let me read this again. We'll get to that because there's a lot of people writing. Just look at that right now. We'll get to that. So look, America's founders foresaw the need for armed young men to rise to defense of their communities, rioters, and looters. Men younger than Cal fought in the American Revolution, put down insurrections under George Washington, trained in militia groups. It was for these men that the Second Amendment was written. It is men like Cal whom the amendment must continue to protect. Do you agree with that assessment? Are they going too far? Are they making it too heroic? What's your thoughts on this?
I agree. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly agree. Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree too, because anything can happen. This comment is this is getting hot here with the comments.
Yo, now you see why I got distracted? Like,
No,
yo,
I saw it. I just ignored it because I wanted to get to this point.
Shout out to our number one fan of the week. Let's shout her out, and that is Felicia Carmichael.
Felicia, we got it right. Her name, we got it. Put her name that when we get merch, you are certainly getting a free T-shirt from us.
Facts,
guaranteed. So just so you know, we're not there yet, but we're growing slowly and having fun with this. But you'll get one. Huh? Oh, God, I love America, Felicia. That's false. They don't do that. That's terrorist activities. Well, it depends what area we're talking about here. But
the chat is active tonight. Facts.
Oh, damn, Kyle Walk. I'm not surprised. He's a symbol now, which is fucked up. Do you lads agree with
Felicia? You definitely
agree with the verdict. All right, let's discuss this to catch up. ZVO Genius. Do we agree with the verdict? I'll make it quick. I agree with the verdict upon seeing many hours because we live in a system that is innocent to proven guilty. He was not found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, so it makes sense that he walked off. The defense wasn't there after me watching hours of the footage. Macho,
I mean, he's innocent. That's just it. He's innocent. That's it. Not my opinion. The jury he said he's innocent. Do I agree with that? Yes, I agree with it.
Yeah, and that's the second layer. Do we agree? I agree with it, and not because I think Kyle is the best person. I don't know the man. Not because I think it's just because of the evidence.
The judge was biased.
Just proud of the left.
How in the world is the judge biased?
Hi guys, we're getting comments from our Twitch and our Facebook. So if you see us read a comment that's not really on your side, just you can hear us out on why we're putting that up. My husband lives in Saudi 6 months out of the year. Have you been? Oh, okay. Felicia came with the I'm Arab. They don't do it anymore. That's what the media falsely claims. So you're admitting they did it before. Interesting. Didn't realize the storm pits husbands to see. Cow has a childbearing hip. Agree. Wow, y'all blowing up the comments today. But
we love it. We accept everybody's opinions. That's fine. So long as we, want to have this discourse, we want to have these conversations, have the meeting of the minds, and have the common ground of discussion. Do you guys open the panel? Not yet, because we're growing. We want a bigger audience because we want to establish our ideology. We want to make it very clear in our content where we stand. We want an audience to follow that, and then you can disagree with us based on that premise. Yeah. We don't want wide open freaking, well, what do you agree? Do you agree with Saudi Arabia? We don't know Saudi Arabia, brother. We're here. We're right here, New York City.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we both, FYI, guys, Macho should be back on his TikTok live soon. Right?
I got banned, baby. Take me out of jail, baby.
Yeah, so he should be back soon. But we both go live, and we get a decent audience, both of us. Where we got tons of people who we actually invite in, have conversation. So before our podcast, we do go live on our TikTok. Let me just put our TikTok up there so you guys can see it as well to follow both of us.
Yeah.
But,
also, folks, we want to grow. We want bigger discourse. We want to be able to have guests. We want to be able to have live interviews, to be able to have discussions over. That is our purpose. We're from the hood of New York City. We have a different perspective. We're conservative. We do not see things successful on the liberal side. That's why we are leaning more right. That's right. So
I appreciate ZVO Genius. Appreciate your sub. So
thank you.
Quick here. If
appreciate
Kyle
that, ZVO.
Killed by grass crowds and he claims self-defense, then would you support grass crowds? You see, when people ask that kind of question, I have no idea, because if you ask me about Kyle in the beginning, I wouldn't say I support or not support. Upon the law, the evidence presented, you cannot say that he was guilty beyond reasonable doubt. We live in America, people. That's all I'm arguing.
It's a great question, but it's also very misleading, right? Again, Grosskreutz was not necessarily defending himself because he wasn't the subject in a point of defense, meaning he ran to the scene of a shooting. He ran there with his weapon. No problem. You want to have your weapon? You want to show up to a gunfight? Sure, you're there. Again, if you feel as a citizen someone's being a victim of a crime or a victim of a shooting, then utilize that. Go right ahead. But what I'm saying is, if you don't even know what the hell is going on, and you go and you pull your gun out on someone, and you get your hand shot off, Okay, you got your hand shot. I'm not calling Grosskreutz a criminal. I'm not saying he should be tried in court. He thought this kid was shooting people, so he was just going to. There you go. That's it. I understand the question, but I think it's also very misleading.
Yeah. Because you know what it is? Context is king in a lot of these cases. So we don't know how the situation. I'm going off the details that I've heard in the court. I'm not going about an article in the media. I'm not going about the conservative outlets who are calling him a hero, because I'm not with that either. But I'm not also going with the left of him. So it's like,
look at that one.
So it's just it just depends, man.
How do you know that my man's Dominican? Like, that's a good assessment.
That's a good eye.
How do you know just by looking at Savory? He's Dominican.
And look, he's my man's the computer.
Who are you? Are you a bot?
You know, but he said he never been to America. He says do you feel afraid to come here, by the way? That you feel you need to be strapped or something?
Who's never been to America? I'm not seeing that in the comment section here.
CFC, he said a little earlier. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Never been to America.
This comment's funny. Common sense 101. Don't chase after someone that is holding an AR-15. Get as mad as you want about that, but charging that person is a dumb thing to do. I agree with that. But again, I will make my assumption off that. But, it's a free country. You have the right to believe that. Now in court, let's see if that holds up, which it did in this case.
Yeah, and also Grosskreutz is not going to be criminally charged either. He has the right to bear arms in that area. He has a legal use of a firearm there, and he felt like there was a crime in fact committed, which you could also do. He could defend himself and others with his weapon. He could also do a citizen's arrest. Hello, they didn't bring that up in his court case on purpose, folks. Why? Because you have defense attorneys arguing a citizen's arrest case. Where? Savory? In Georgia.
Robbery.
You can't bring that up because you have to be very careful. This judge is very smart, and these attorneys are very smart, very crafty. And you don't want to bring up a citizen's arrest point in this case because why? Grosskreutz is not on trial here.
CFC, hold up. We got to agree on what? You can't rely on the courts to help you. You got to kill or be killed. First of all, have you been to America? And do you think that's really how it is America? And what news network are you watching? Do you think that's America?
Kill or be killed. I guess maybe this person is just. Look, I'm glad you're airing yourself out. That's fine.
Yeah, I love it. We love it. Everybody's always welcome, man.
We got to talk. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. I'm curious to see why he thinks that. That's a very.
I don't think we live in a primitive environment, CFC. We're not in a primitive environment. Kill to be killed, unless
America's actually not dangerous in most places at all, man.
Yeah,
the most tourists. You got the most immigrants. You can be black in most places in America. You'll be fine unless maybe, a weird spot or house that's raises or business. But come on, man.
I mean, even the most dangerous areas in Southside Chicago is dangerous only because of what goes on between peers.
Yeah.
Not necessarily dangerous in terms of just danger. But
it's dangerous for anybody to be around there, though, I would argue.
Oh, yeah, because you got shootings, you got robberies, you got all that stuff. But at the same token, it's because of what the crime statistics reveal. Again, do we live in a society, Savory, where it's kill to be killed?
Come on, man, America.
That's a bit primitive. Rittenhouse is a symbol and tell his story. But Shaker Kid, he killed fucked up because he wasn't strapped.
But hold up, before we go into that, I want to know if you've been to America. I'm just curious because I'm seeing a lot of your comments. I'm just curious about, have you been to America? And if you haven't, do you think in America is that mentality of kill or be killed? I'm very curious about that. So if you can kind of help us out with that, because we'll love to see where people stand on that, on how people view it from other countries. Very interesting.
Are you ready to move to the last segment here, Savory?
Yeah, I know we got caught up on these comments today, but
which is good.
So we can't. So you know what? Let me pass it on to my man Macho on the one and only topic called
and this segment is dedicated to Julie. I know you're going to probably watch us on replay over the weekend or maybe catch up with us on Monday. This is dedicated to you. This is about the Juneteenth comment that you asked. We weren't really fully sure as to what exactly that you wanted from us or where you wanted us to speak at an engagement. I don't know. We weren't really clear on that, but we figured
more details though from her.
Let's comment on it. What is Juneteenth? Why are we celebrating it? And I have a specific slide here. Juneteenth. This is from the History Channel. Juneteenth marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after the signing. This is very important. After the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, Juneteenth honors the end of slavery in the United States and is considered the largest running African American holiday. On June 17, 2021, as officially became a holiday. Now, there has been a lot of debate as to making that the holiday versus honoring the other part of this is what I just mentioned, which was this. This is also according to the History Channel, Savory, and that is this. On September 22nd, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, which declared that as of January 1st, 1863, all enslaved people in the states currently engaged in rebellion against the Union shall be thenceforward, I should say, and forever free. And the rebellion states, they were obviously fighting against the Confederates. Everyone knows that story.
But they would never use that date, the people who celebrate Juneteenth.
Well, here it is. Let's talk about it, Savory. I got a video clip here.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you brought that point up. I'm glad. You see, meeting of the minds. Me and Savory got the Shaq and Kobe brain. Check this out.
My children don't understand. I have millennials. Why on New Year's Eve we go to what's called a watch night service. In black churches all over the South, you go to church and you sing songs and pray and sing hymns. What we're doing is waiting for January 1st to come because Lincoln's order said, January 1st, you will be free.
And there it is. So again, in relation to the Juneteenth, this is why there's wide debate. This is a former Chief Justice. She is obviously black. She rather celebrates, she said, because there's a distinction between her and her kids who are millennials. Just simply with these facts, I want to leave you guys as why that this is a debate. And that is because they want to celebrate that January 1st mark as a preliminary rather than the Galveston, Texan mark of the troops entering Texas and overtaking this. That was 2 years later. She wants to celebrate how we even got there. What's the beginning? What's the foundation of why we're here? And that is on New Year's Eve. We wait for the coming day of January 1st because our real celebration is that on 1862, January 1st, into actually 1863, January 1st, we were free. I want to leave you guys with that. Savory, any last thoughts?
No, that's awesome. You know, we love living here with some sip on facts thoughts. And these are potential episodes, by the way. We want to leave people like, look, these are some thoughts we have that we might look at this different. And it might be some potential episodes in the future, you know. Again, everybody who joined, we go live Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to read this last comment, and then I'm going to take us to the rundown of where you can find us, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm putting it all on the screen here.
do you think, man? Americans aren't like that. I'm a concealed carrier daily. I carry to protect myself. Millions like me are of no concern to anyone unless someone chooses to infringe on our safety. And I think that's a very fitting way to end our episode. 417, right? Appreciate that comment. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're still on here. You know, help us with the algorithm as we continue to build our page. But that is a very timely comment. Why? Because in America, I'll also leave you with this on to add on for the sip on facts is we have more guns than people. It's a rare thing to see, all right? And the beauty of it is in us having more gun than people, we're not necessarily a less safer country. You can make an argument that we're a much safer country, right? And that's a whole different episode. We'll probably get into the, you know, Juneteenth, gun rights and all that. We got all type of things to talk about. But again, thank you everybody for joining us. That's the rundown Sequoia just gave us of all the platform. We on Twitch. You can also find us on Twitter, our TikTok. We same handle on there. We got our Instagram, Drinks with a Nobody. We got our Discord, and again, YouTube channel. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate the conversation. Also on Twitch, we appreciate the love. Drinks with a Nobody. Hit the subscribe, and if you're on it right now, hit that like before you leave so we can be on that page algorithm. So appreciate everybody joining. Thank you so much. Till Monday. Goodbye.
Happy
Cheers.
weekend.
And you already know.
Let's final sip it.
Final sip.
Cheers.